Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Mangotology. And for today's video, I'm going to be reacting to myself exposing Scientology on A&E Storage Wars. So this was basically one of my more cringeworthy TV appearances that I made when I was discussing Scientology. Just briefly, I'll give you guys a little background before we actually watch and react to the clip of me on Storage Wars on how I actually got approached to be on the show. So I would say probably about almost close to a year ago or so, I got approached from one of the producers of Storage Wars asking me if I'd be interested in appearing on the show. Now I've heard of the show, I saw a couple episodes, but it's not necessarily like the type of show I would necessarily sit down and watch every week. I've seen a few episodes, but I was familiar enough to wonder like what, do they want me to do on the show? If I'd be exposing Scientology in some way, but they were like, no, like we want you to be able to appraise the Scientology E-Meter. And I thought like, okay, cool, like I wasn't necessarily an auditor in the church. I know about the E-Meter, I know how it works, I know about it, but I'm not necessarily like an E-Meter expert. Again, I wasn't an auditor in the church. But they're like, no, like we like you, we watch your videos, we really want you to appear on the show and do a E-Meter appraisal. So I thought, okay, cool, like let me give it a shot, it's just another way for me to be able to expose Scientology, I'm thinking of it as. They're like, yeah, like are you interested in shooting tomorrow? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like short notice, but I guess like we'll send you photos of the E-Meter so you could see it in advance. We'll actually have one of our producers come, like, can we shoot at your house? And I'm like, yeah, like I guess that's cool. I don't know what to say. Like, yeah, you can film at my house. Like, yeah, like can we come in like an hour and a half and be able to like check out your house and meet you and everything? I'm like, well, again, kind of short notice. But okay, come on over. So they came on over and I was like signing releases and information. They said, okay, we're going to come over tomorrow. Dave's going to come, who's like the auctioneer sort of guy. He's going to bring over the E-Meter and we'll just kind of go from there. So I don't know what I was thinking to wear like a green hoodie and this green shirt, but I'm like, okay, like let me just be kind of casual, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. They didn't give me like any information, but like we're going to bring the E-Meter over and we'll go from there. We'll go kind of through the play-by-play like as we watch it and kind of give you like my thoughts about what was actually going on and stuff like that. So I guess without further ado, let's watch me expose Scientology on Storage Wars.
I'm going door to door to spread the word of Scientology. Steve, how you doing? I'm Dave. We talked on the phone? Just kidding. I called around.
No, we did not talk on the phone, Dave. They kind of basically brought Dave over and they said, okay, Dave's going to walk up the stairs, knock on the door, answer the door, and he'll say something along those lines like, hey, like we were talking on the phone, or this is the E-Meter I'm bringing to you. Again, this is all kind of like just improvising like in the moment. I didn't necessarily know like what we were going to do beforehand, like the producers didn't really tell me. So that's basically where we're at right now.
I found former Scientologist Steve Mango. He knows all about the E-Meter, including how much it might be worth.
Alrighty, so what we have here is a Mark 7 quantum E-Meter, the tool that's used in the Church of Scientology in a counseling session. Like the space if we open it up and we take a peek here, alrighty, so you have the E-Meter, you have the cans, you have everything that would be used to audit someone.
Wait a minute, I just went through a 2-year audit.
Okay, it's not that
same type of audit?
No, it's a whole different type of audit. It's used for therapeutic purposes in the church.
Well, that's a...
Therapeutic. Now, when we were doing this, again, I'm not really sure like which direction we're going in. They'd like just start talking about the E-Meter and all that sort of stuff. But the thing that was making me uncomfortable was that it was kind of already being seen in like a joking way. Like I'm okay with going on as like an expert, for example, whether it's on television or something, and discussing like the facts of, maybe the E-Meter or about different Scientology policies. Like I'm cool with that, but I kind of was already feeling like I was a joke in a way, or I don't necessarily know, like I'm thinking like, well, maybe that's why they picked me, because they want like some, dorky kid on there talking about the E-Meter. I really don't know, but again, when they started like cracking the jokes and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is just going to be taken seriously. Now again, we're talking about Scientology. It is kind of funny, what the E-Meter does and what it looks like and that sort of thing, but I very much take it seriously when I expose Scientology, so I don't know if this was necessarily the right venue to expose Scientology on. Maybe it was my fault for agreeing to be on a show like this, but again, we're going to continue to watch.
Relief. My last audit was definitely not therapeutic.
It does send an electric current through you when you hold these cans. It sends like 1.5 volts.
Let's try it.
Okay, let's try it. Alright.
Did I plug it in wrong?
Did I plug it in wrong?
Alrighty, perfect. I'm going to do a test on you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing first because I don't want you to anticipate it.
Okay, I need to tell you guys this.
I'm pinching.
It feels like you're pinching.
Okay, so I need to tell you guys about this. So, I turned on the E-Meter and I did like the test dial to see if it had charge. And the needle fell, whatever, so I figured that it was working. And that's what you kind of do like when you have an E-Meter to test out the charge. Now, I'm not thinking at this time, like maybe I should just plug it in anyways, just so like as we're using it, because again, this was in storage for, you know, however many years, 5 years, 10 years or something like that. So I should have just plugged it in just so I would have charge on the E-Meter so I can be able to demonstrate it properly. But I'm thinking like, no, like I have all these cameras on me, all these producers in the background. Again, I don't really necessarily know like what they want me to say, or not like they're feeding me lines or something like that. But I just thought that, you know, I would know like basically what was going on. Like I've seen the show a few times, but I didn't necessarily know like what do they want me to talk about. Do they want me to come at Scientology in a critical way? And I'm talking about, you know, what the device actually is. Am I just kind of being neutral? Because a lot of times on TV shows, they just want you to be neutral. They don't want you like to say, for example, like what I could say on my YouTube channel. I can talk about credit card fraud and all that sort of stuff. But when I've, you know, said maybe mentioned it to the producers of Leah Remini's show, it couldn't clear the legal for me to be able to discuss that if I was to go on her show. So it's stuff like that. On TV, sometimes you have to kind of know like what line to cross or not. And again, I'm a very vocal critic. So if I'm going to be talking about the E-Meter, I can talk about 100 different things in a critical way, but they may not want that for the show. So I was just kind of nervous in a way because I didn't necessarily know what was going on. It was starting to be like a joke in a way. So anyways, I put him on the E-Meter and I'm doing the pinch test. And basically a pinch test is like you're pinching the person and it's going to react on the E-Meter because it's, again, a skin response sort of meter. So I'm trying to pinch Dave and it's not reacting on the E-Meter. So I'm changing like the tone arm setting. I'm changing like all the different dials. Like I'm, you know, playing around with it. And again, like I'm supposed to be the expert and I'm not even thinking like it's not even plugged in. Like that should have been the first thing I thought. I was like, plug it in. And I'm trying to do all these like Scientology things to basically get the E-Meter to work, but all along it just wasn't really plugged in. So I'm looking like an idiot. I'm pinching. I'm like, why isn't it going? Like, is it the sensitivity? Like, I'm thinking like the Scientology terms. I'm like, you know, is he not metabolizing on the E-Meter? Just like whatever. So again, you know, that's kind of where we're at right now.
So then I put it back onto the set. In your mind, think about the pinch. You see how your needle's moving like that? You're thinking about the pinch.
Just kind of like tarot card reading?
Not quite. Not quite tarot card readings. Anyone inside the Church of Scientology is going to be put on one of these E-Meter devices because it's based in a self-help philosophy.
Because they were kind of taking it as a joke, like the whole entire time with this E-Meter thing. They're looking at me like, who the hell is this kid? So it just kind of made me uncomfortable, so I just do my nervous like, ha ha ha. And that's just kind of what you see in the episode a lot. I mean, if you're not looking at it from like a critical way of like I'm looking at it, you know, it was educational to show people like what this device does, what could be the appeal, when you see the needle move and that sort of stuff. But if you're expecting to see, you know, me like this hard-hitting way, like discussing Scientology like it's, you know, going clear or something like that, like this episode, you know, is just kind of tragic to say the least, but where this episode goes.
So when the needle falls this way, that's when something is considered a charged item, something that's upsetting.
Gotcha. How did you get to...
And it's so hard to like describe Scientology to someone who has absolutely no understanding in any way about Scientology, about anything. It's kind of hard to explain things that you see, like for example on the E-Meter, because the person doesn't even know anything other than, oh, you know, Tom Cruise is in Scientology or something. So unless you have a bit of a background, it's very hard to kind of concisely explain Scientology to someone who has absolutely no idea on like a 10-minute or 5-minute segment of a TV show.
To know all about this, are you a Scientologist?
I'm a former Scientologist, so I was trained in some basic courses that would teach me how to actually be able to audit someone. This tool is used to help guide you through different areas of stress.
Lord knows I have some stress. I might blow this machine up. Does that ever happen?
Hopefully you're not the first, because then we're not going to be able to sell it. Right, exactly.
That was a good comeback
This
line.
machine is actually...
If anything, because he was being like so snarky with me, like to say something like that, like, oh, you know, if I blow up this machine from all my stress, like, well, hey, you're not going to be able to sell it. You know, this guy wants to be able to try to turn a profit on this E-Meter. So I just kind of, you know, shot the shit right back to him.
worth?
This e-meter is about 21 years old now. There was an e-meter that was released in 2013 called a Mark 8, considered like more technically advanced than the device that we have here. They're not going to buy the old model e-meter.
But that's true what I'm saying here about the e-meter, because with the new e-meter that was released, the Mark 8 e-meter, you can't use the former model of e-meter to audit on. Like in the church or even at home or doing solo auditing, you think like, why wouldn't you be able to audit on this device? You were able to audit on it, you know, and it worked for, 20 years, 30 years, however long. Why now are you saying that we can't audit on this device that you guys were selling people thousands of dollars, in intensive of auditing, which is 12.5 hours? You're charging, honestly, hundreds of dollars an hour, and now you're saying it's no good, get a new e-meter? But you can't just get one, you have to get two, because LRH said that you need to have a backup e-meter in case like the battery goes dead, like kind of what happened here, like other things that happen. You need to be able to use your other e-meter. I gave the middle finger. I should have went like this, but I went like that. It's just a family-friendly channel. But it's true, it's almost like a Freudian slip, but no, it's true because, you may be in the middle of some sort of traumatic thing in the person's life and then the e-meter dies. You need to be able to use your backup e-meter, so that's what they say. But now they can tell if you're an SP and shut off your e-meter because there's like some sort of Wi-Fi connection with the new e-meter or some type of chip that goes in the new e-meter. So if you're an SP, they can just basically shut off your e-meter from working or turning on or like having any sort of needle reaction, because what would happen is people like Marty Rathman would start like their own like what they'd consider a squirrel movement, and then they'd be able to audit people, outside of the church. So in order to prevent that, their new e-meters get shut off if you get declared a suppressive person. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here in terms of the valuation of the e-meter.
The church does not allow them to audit on this device. Your best bet would be to put this on eBay. The church normally sells these things for about $3,200 to $3,600 a piece.
Really?
And they make you buy two.
Yeah.
Remember it said, if you want to get rich, start a religion.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Right, so you may want to have your religion over here. But yeah, so this meter, you have no scratches, the case looks nice, you have all the cans. You are looking at around $250 for this machine right here that you have.
Now that's what I call enlightenment.
I actually think that is still a very fair evaluation, like even a couple months later, or looking back on it. There are people who are like Scientology collectors of the different like e-meters or the books, and there are people who still audit outside the church, have your own thoughts about whatever that is, but there are people who do buy e-meters and they, get auditing from, people who are trained to deliver services and that sort of thing, or they just want an e-meter just for the historical value or whatever it is, and the average price on eBay is around $250, $300. I would say even sometimes they sell up to $400 for an e-meter, so I do think he'd make money for it. It's in good shape, and I do think, it's workable for the most part, so I do think he'd be able to resell it and make somewhat of a profit. It's not going to be $3,600, but, a couple hundred for a storage unit you probably bought for, $100. I mean, it's at least something to, recoup your costs on.
Pretty interesting to find out about these things.
I hope I can have helped to identify some spiritual areas there that were upsetting you.
Oh, yeah. All right, thank you.
So weird, guys.
Renee Nazota's hard work paid off, making...
So then, like, right after we filmed that, then they said, okay, we're going to put Dave on the e-meter, and they basically filmed like different needle reactions, like squeezing the cans different ways, and the needle would move, like to resemble what a rock slam would be, which means you have an evil thought. So they started going through the list of the different people on the show, and they told me like, okay, here are the names, just read the names, and we're going to cut to reactions of Dave, and cut to reactions like of them, like the e-meter, like can you get it to like move like different ways, and then they kind of like cut in different things, so it would look like Dave has an evil thought about someone else on the show, or stress about a storage auction. So it became kind of gimmicky near the end of the episode, and again, I was already there, I was kind of already their pawn, like to play along with their idea to, do a little funny segment. I like to kind of keep it more about like the facts of Scientology, and you can have a little bit of humor in it, but, like, it's kind of silly to, play games with the e-meter or that sort of thing. But again, I'll show you guys.
Different individuals in your life and see how much stress they're causing you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, our first person is Brandy. We're getting a little bit of a sleigh upset there. Just jolted a little bit there. Jared.
I have no idea who these people
Next
are.
person is Renee.
I'd say he stresses me out. Look at that.
Yeah, look at how that's moving. Okay. Daryl. Slight, but not as much as we had with Renee. Let's check out Dan. Nope. Oh, see how the needle was jumping like that? You're a little boiling inside right there. Laura. See how it's jumping back and forth like that? That's considered a rock slam. What a rock slam is in Scientology means you have an evil thought about that person.
That actually did.
Yeah, she's evil.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what the meter said. I didn't say it. Okay.
Oh, my giggling mess. Oh my god. Well, yeah, that was basically my appearance on Storage Wars. Even though it was a little bit of a train wreck at times, I do still think that it was good that I appeared on the show because it kind of gave a different audience a little bit of information on what Scientology is, about the E-Meter, and although it kind of was proving Scientology's point by showing the different needle reactions and stuff, it does show people that, hey, there maybe is a little bit something to it, that if you do explain it as, you know, the needle moves to the right, which means you have stress, and it happens, and you are thinking about someone that stresses you out, you know, it's going to give some more validity to Scientology. So it kind of helps show people how just the everyday person could get roped into Scientology. Anyways, guys, that was my appearance on A&E Storage Wars. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. Also, guys, make sure to turn on the little bell icon. That's going to notify you when I make new videos. I have some interviews coming with other ex-Scientologists. I have some other stories that I've never told before. And if you guys want to stay up to date on my channel and on those stories, make sure that you turn your notifications on. Also, for the holidays, there is a sale on suppressive merchandise. If you go to suppressivemerchandise.com, there's a whole line of ex-Scientology merchandise that I designed and created. There is a sale going on right now. The sale code is going to be right here in the video as well as down in the description box below. Get your loved one a suppressive merchandise t-shirt. Show off your pride of being a suppressive person. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. See you on my next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys.